My name is Sheldon Steele. I'm the Executive Director of the Larz Anderson Auto Museum. The Larz Anderson Auto Museum is home to America's oldest car collection. We are also a museum that features revolving exhibits, and on any given Sunday between May and October, we do car events, themed car shows, if you will. And we attract the New England community to the museum by means of these events, both our exhibits and the things that we do out on the road. America's oldest car collection, the Larz Anderson collection, was assembled by Larz and Isabel Anderson at the dawn of the motor age. The Bailey was one of Mrs. Anderson's favorite cars. Bailey Electric is from Amesbury, Massachusetts. That's where the company was founded. Amesbury, Mass. was the carriage capital of the world, so to say. At one period of time, at least that's how they touted themselves. They were in a brisk carriage trade, making really fine carriage bodies for horse-drawn application, and a natural adjunct of that would be the cars that came out of Bailey and other manufacturers. New England itself was a hotbed of activity at the beginning of things for car manufacturing. So the Bailey, again, being manufactured in Amesbury between 1905 and 1916, they made really beautiful, exquisite bodies and cars, and innovative cars, because we're standing in front of and talking about an electric automobile when many people today think that that's a relatively new innovation. But the Bailey itself, that's a 113-year-old car in 1908, and it was amongst many other electric cars at the beginning of motorized transportation in America and the world. And it had a range of, at least it was touted, to 80 to 100 mile range, and then 15 to 20 miles an hour. Durable, a kind of car that would be useful to businessmen and women alike at that time period, because it had particular qualities that would be appealing to a female driver. It was quiet, it was clean, and it would separate them perhaps from the masses that might be using public transportation. It was a car for the well-to-do, if you will. At Pebble Beach, the growing appreciation for early automobiles is apparent in the fact that this year in 2021, they had an early electric class, of which the Bailey was a part of. The Concours is expanding in its approach and appreciation for various slices of the automobile world and the history of the automobile. We often think of Concours cars as a particular kind of representation of an automobile, but Pebble Beach, being the grand Concours in the country, certainly in the world, it has expanded its historical aspect from cars like this in the electric class to preserved vehicles, where in fact this car fits into both of those categories, of course, right? Because it's a preserved car, and we won a very significant award for best pre-war preserved vehicle, but it also represented the electric class. That is all the rage now because of what's going on in the world of transportation. Electric is coming on strong, but this car and the other cars that were presented for the Concours are part of the foundation of electric automobiles over 100 years ago. Being invited to participate and then receiving what is really a prestigious award from the Concours, any award would have been fantastic. But we won an overall award in the category of preserved pre-war best preserved pre-war vehicle. So to be in the electric class and then to be recognized by the Concours as an extremely well-preserved original car is germane. It's right in the center of who the Larz Anderson Auto Museum is, with our collection of 14 cars that were assembled by Larz and Isabel Anderson. So a great privilege. across the board for the museum.
I'm Natalie Harrington. I'm a writer and I'm a trustee here at the Larz Anderson Auto Museum. The cars in the collection range from 1899 all the way up to 1926. The Andersons treated their cars much like other people of the time treated their horses. They kept them in the carriage house, they gave each one a name and a motto and assigned them their own personalities. One of these is the 1908 Bailey Electric, which was nicknamed the Good Fairy, and its motto was always ready, always faithful. The Bailey is behind me, as you can see. This was actually Isabel Anderson's favorite car. One of the main reasons being that it did not need to be crank started, so she could drive it by herself, although it does still have a rumble seat at the back for her footman. She was a lady after all. A lot of people actually don't know that electric power was very popular back at the turn of the last century when the Andersons were collecting cars, but there were those three options: electric, gas, and steam. Museum cars are typically not entered for judging at the Pebble Beach Concours, but the judges still recognize the Larz Anderson's 1908 Bailey with the award for the most well-preserved pre-war car. This really speaks to the principle that Larz Anderson has championed and is now becoming a trend in the collector car world of preservation over restoration. The Bailey is all original, exactly in the condition that it was when it was new, and still living in its original home, which is very unusual.
Hey, it's Craig Fitzgerald from the New England Motor Press Association. I'm driving a 2021 Subaru Forester, which is pretty much like if you get a license here in New England, they issue you one of these as soon as you get your driver's license. There's a lot of reasons why this vehicle in particular is so wildly popular here, and this and other Subaru products like the Outback and the Crosstrek especially. They sell like crazy around here, and there's a few reasons for that. I mean, one is it still represents a great value, right? So you buy this car, doesn't matter what trim level you buy, you get all-wheel drive, and you essentially get that for free. And that's not necessarily true with most crossover SUVs. There's still the base price that you see advertised is often for the front wheel drive version, and that's not true with this. You get the all-wheel drive no matter what. They're also really well equipped. It's also got a ton of room inside. Let me show you just inside. We'll run quick into the cargo area here. So with all the seats down, you get a tremendous amount of room in here. I mean, it's competitive with much bigger vehicles. And the nice thing about it is it's not just the cargo volume, it's the shape of the cargo area. So you got a really tall opening here so you can put bigger items in. It's got a ton of room back here. Subaru's probably got a better reputation in New England than any car company at this point. I mean, most people who are in the market are gonna at least shop something like the Forester before they shop a Honda, before they shop a Nissan. They sell a ton of these here, and they have for an awful long time. And deep in history, back in the 1970s, Subaru was selling vehicles here pretty well. So they've always built a good reputation here. And when Saab, disappeared and Volvo kind of moved up market, this is what really became the vehicle that everybody was driving. You go up to Vermont, for example, and they're just everywhere. They're everywhere. Yankees love a good value, and they love something that works, and that's exactly what you get out of a Forester and most of the Subaru, all of the Subaru products, really. The other nice thing about the Forester is its legitimate off-road ability. You're not going to cross the Rubicon with this, but you'll get much further out, into the woods than you would in a comparable vehicle. It's got taller ground clearance than just about any vehicle it competes with, aside from the sort of off-road trims of those things. It's got better approach angles, it's got better departure angles, and for 2022, this is going to come in the wilderness trim, which increases that even about a half an inch more ground clearance and even better approach and departure angles. You know, there's a difference between this and something like a Jeep Wrangler. If you really want to kind of get out as far as you can go, the Wrangler's a better bet. But if you got one car and you need to get into the backwoods a little bit, this is a pretty decent choice for that. You know, you got the all-wheel drive, you got the Boxster engine, plus, you know, all those ground clearances and all that kind of stuff in the wilderness. Also comes with taller or shorter gearing, so it's got a little bit more snap under acceleration. There's some off-road kind of, nice off-road features with that. The other thing is, with this one, I can't remember what the roof strength is on this one. It's probably 700 pounds on the roof rack, and it's 800 on the new Forester Wilderness. So you can put a rooftop tent up there. It's got 200 some odd pounds of static roof or a dynamic roof capacity, meaning you can put 200 pounds up there and drive with it, and then you can put 700 to 800 pounds up there while it's parked. So you can keep a rooftop tent up there, plus whoever is going to sleep in it and their gear, all safely, and it's been sort of engineered that way. So that's a really nice feature with this vehicle, and it's something that people are actually shopping for when they're going out to buy a vehicle like this. There's a reason the Subarus do well here, and it's all about value. Again, I'm Craig Fitzgerald from the New England Motor Press Association. We will see you next time. There's one there. There's one there. There's one there. There's another one right there.